I'm in Central America, heading deep into the vast rainforests of northwest Guatemala. My destination, the heart of the Sierra Lacandon, a remote mountain region surrounded by dense jungle.
I'm travelling up the mighty Usumacinta River. On my left is Mexico, on my right Guatemala. But centuries before either country even existed, these jungles were home to an ancient civilization, the Maya.
25 kilometers from the drop-off, I have a rendezvous with a shaman of Mayan descent. Luis will contact his ancestors through a traditional fire ceremony to seek permission for me to enter their lands.
Te dan la bienvenida. Les dan la bienvenida.
I thought this was a simple permission ceremony. In fact, the way the fire burns, its strength, the quality of the smoke, tell Luis much about my character and whether my journey will be successful. And then, he reaches deep into my psyche to reveal some harsh truths.
Ser superhéroe puede ser adicto a las cosas. Ser muy adicto a las cosas te puede llevar al caos, a la tumba.
And he warns me that I will suffer consequences if I'm not more appreciative of my life.
I had to do 13 circles of the fire, and each circle represented throwing fears and apprehensions and negativity into the fire to get rid of it. And I thought, I'm going to use this opportunity. It was extraordinary, and I felt honoured to have been put through that and to experience that.
I leave the temple ruins full of confidence that I can take this jungle challenge to the next level.
I'm going to make it my mission not just to thrive here, but to try and essentially be like those Mayans, to be like the civilizations of the ancient people that used to live in this forest, to try and actually become civilized, so I can actually go through survival, through thriving, and actually try and be civilized, to try and get a level of sustainability in the jungle which is above and beyond what I've ever achieved before. That's my aim. I'm setting the bar high.
Now, it's time to find out if I can really do it. And my first challenge is lying in wait for me on the beach.
That's quite a decent-sized crocodile, about 5 foot long. Okay, let's go. Thank you. See you soon. Right.
I'm going to be out here for over a week, but all I'm bringing with me is a set of cameras, a first aid kit, and a satellite phone in case of emergencies.
That disappearing motor is the last I'm going to hear of any human activity for quite some time. I am quite literally in the middle of nowhere.
My key priorities are water, food, fire, and shelter. The river's probably polluted, and there's little else to sustain me here. Add the danger of crocs, and I need to get deeper into the jungle.
No way, that's extraordinary. It's just literally filming a walking shot down the beach. And the tracks that are leading down to the water, I would say that's a jaguar. These footprints of jaguar have been made today. This morning, I would suggest, probably before the heat of the day came. There's big cats in here.
Pound for pound, the jaguar has the strongest bite of all cats and can attack people. But I'm at risk from other animals too. There are more than 20 species of venomous snake, including the notorious fer-de-lance. One bite from that could kill me within hours. There are also poisonous scorpions and spiders to deal with.
Okay, right, let's get out of the sun.
And as I move on, the reality of my situation becomes apparent. I've been dropped on a sandbar that's totally surrounded by water.
That's not an insignificant amount of water, that really is not. That changes things somewhat.
If I stay here, I'll starve. And if I swim, I risk a crocodile attack. Time to make a tough decision.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go in. Let's get the GoPro out. Back there, I saw a crocodile going into the water, and now, lo and behold, I'm going straight in here. So I just need to move across here fast.
I'm a very poor swimmer. Just need to relax. It's all well and good. There's crocodiles in here.
That was, I didn't really want to admit it beforehand, but I'm a terrible swimmer. And, it might not look much, but that's quite a significant amount of water for me to cross. Something about not being a good swimmer makes me quite nervous in water. Add crocodiles to that equation. And having just seen jaguar tracks as well to up the ante, I found that a little bit nerve-wracking. But I'm here, and the kit's dry, and I need to get out of this sun.
The jungle is one of the toughest environments on the planet, but I've spent years of my life in them and feel very at home here.
I'm smiling. Ed, you're at the beginning of a survival challenge, and you're smiling, you nutcase. I need to watch my feet. There's something about the energy of a forest that I just find extraordinary. You walk in, and it just feels incredible.
My first step is to scout the jungle for the perfect campsite, somewhere with fresh water and lots of food. The best way to orientate myself is to get to a high point, so I head uphill.
I just want to crest the brow of this next ridgeline, and I'm hoping that there'll be a nice little freshwater bubbling brook in the valley on the other side. There should be. There's abundant river systems around here, so it really shouldn't be a problem.
I'd forgotten how punishing jungles can be, and with humidity as high as 97%, I'm sweating massively.
Whenever I think I'm about to crest a ridgeline, it seems that there's just another little bit to climb. Little animal tracks.
For the next 2 hours, I battle my way through thick jungle. I'm exhausted and dehydrated.
There's light at the top there. Crack on, Ed. Crack on. Looks like an area where I can get a view. Wow. That view makes it all worthwhile.
Well, that certainly sorts out the water issue. And with no lack of wood down there, I'd say I found a great location for a camp. But it looks like I might have to share it.
There is an enormous crocodile in there. That is massive. That is somewhat disconcerting, I have to say.
On the plus side, where there's crocs, there must be fish.
There is no point in looking for a bubbling little brook anymore. This is up in the ante. This is making everything a lot more exciting, really. If I can access the food in here, if I can make fish traps to catch the big fish, that would be extraordinary. If I head down there, the land is flatter as well, so more access to the lake. Here I'm about 150 metres above it, which is bonkers. Then that's the new plan, isn't it? Get down to the lake shore, build a home.
With this discovery, I'm convinced I can thrive here. And there's even that bubbling brook.
Rehydrated myself. Time to find a good campsite, really. Oh my God, look at that. It's beautiful.
This looks like a sinkhole to me, created when a cave collapsed thousands of years ago. The Maya believed they were entrances to the spirit world and threw offerings into the water.
With a lake this beautiful, why not create a house that overlooks it?
I'll need a fire to keep crocs and other predators away, but first priority is a shelter to keep everything dry. I'm going to make a basic bivouac. In this case, I'm going to use the trees here to support the frame. The jungle is rich with building materials.
string.
Perfect for tying off the crossbeams.
Okay, that's a solid frame, built in about 2 hours.
It's the rainy season, so I'm going to need to roof my shelter with thick palm fronds to keep me dry. But it's not finished, and it's taken so long I've had no time to find food or make fire. As night approaches, and as the shaman predicted, my optimism gives way to negativity.
Right now, in this damp forest, when the sun goes and the clouds come and the rains fall and all of the forest floor is wet and everything feels wet and it's slightly cold, if I'm honest, and there's mosquitoes buzzing in your ears and the shelter's not finished and you're going to have to cower like an animal at the back of it in order to stay dry tonight if it rains. Something about that I'm not enjoying. Right, the monsters are coming out. I'm going to tuck myself into the shelter and try and get some sleep.
The temperature drops sharply at night, and as the heavens break, I'm too cold and hungry to sleep.
Lift yourself, Ed. Lift yourself.
But a new day is a new start.
Got through the night, which is great, and howler monkeys are calling again. The sun's just cresting over the hills, and today I'm going to finish my shelter, make sure it's big enough to get fire in it, and then make my fire. If I've done both of those two things by the end of the day, finished my shelter and made a fire, I'm going to be happy, man.
Making fire in a damp rainforest is always tough. To increase my chances, I need to dry out the wood and kindling in the sun. And while that dries, I finish the shelter.
That took a lot of work, but it's just utterly essential, really.
Next up, a fire. And I'm using the bow drill method.
So I've got myself a drill. I've got a bearing block, that's what you call the bit that you put the weight on top of with your left hand. I have a hearth, the final component.
The wood needs to be strong enough to take the pressure and, more importantly, bone dry. I labour all afternoon, but I just can't get an ember of this damp wood.
So close. And relax, and relax, and relax. It is what it is.
As the skies open, it's game over. But at least my shelter will stop the firelighting kit getting even wetter.
I think tomorrow, my revised plan is to get up early and do a bit of exploration. I feel like I've been just doing the survival priorities and haven't really seen the lake or explored it for food. I'm getting hungry now.
It's day 4. I've got water and shelter, but I haven't managed fire or food yet.
I'm up early this morning just exploring around the edge of the lake, looking for maybe food sources, anything that I can find really. Because the sun hasn't penetrated the clouds yet, so I can't dry out the fire kit, so I can't do that, so it seems to be a sensible thing to do.
And finally, the rainforest delivers a little treat.
It might look very mouldy, but it tastes incredible. Sugars. I hadn't realised how much I've been craving sugars until I bit into that. Excuse me for a second. I can't speak. Okay. This is a guava tree. And there's quite a few on the ground. At last.
Life seems instantly better. What I really need now is protein. But as I hunt around for more food, I get the distinct impression that I'm not alone.
Definitely just skated out of there. And the howlers above me are quite active. The howler monkeys.
Whatever spooked the monkeys has slipped away. It was probably too fast for me to catch anyway.
Down there. Just saw this glimpse of red. Really, really bright red. And it's the abdomen of a tarantula.
This is a Mexican red-rumped tarantula, and it can deliver a nasty bite. But it also has another ingenious form of defense. It can use its back legs to fire a cloud of irritating barbed hairs into the face of its attacker.
Got it. I've got it. I'm going to stop its back legs and surely kill that. Oh, I've got a tarantula. Food! Ha! Yes! Okay. Indigenous people used to eat tarantulas. Literally put them in the fire, sear off the hairs. They're meant to be a delicacy.
I'm starving. So starving that a tarantula looks like a tasty meal. But to cook it, I need to get that fire going.
It is going to work. It is going to work. Come on!
The wood's been drying in the sun all morning. And as it's not raining now, this could be my moment.
I think I might have one. Yes, I have. Yes, amazing. I didn't want another night without heat and light, you know? It's frustrating sometimes, it really is. Like the jungle's the jungle, and you can never guarantee to make fire by friction in the jungle. It's just so wet.
Now I can cook my first hot meal in 3 days.
Oh. Fire.
Things are starting to come together. I've managed to get fire, water, and a shelter too. But as always, the biggest battle has been with myself.
Everyone thinks that survival is about killing snakes or lighting fires or making shelters. It's not. It's all up here. It's all about holding your own hand through situations, being bold enough to say, I am scared, I am lonely, I'm not enjoying this, but it's all right, because I'm going to look after myself. And I think that's a step above in terms of honesty, in terms of real life truth of how a survival situation works. It's not all about He-Man heroics. It's about being honest with yourself and looking after yourself. So that's my commitment for the rest of the trip, to tie back in, to keep on tying back in with that Mayan ceremony which said, be grateful and meditate.
Right now, I'm really grateful for this lake. I can see it's teeming with fish. If I can find a way to catch them, then I will go beyond surviving and into thriving.
I'm going to make myself a raft. I just figure you can't have something as beautiful and as big and majestic as this lake and not try and get out onto it, and I think that might open up fishing possibilities.
I begin searching for building materials, but I'm so hungry I'm also constantly on the lookout for something to eat, no matter how small.
Okay, this little hole down here is perfect. I can see it's an active hole because there's no foliage around the entrance, there's no spider's webs over it.
I put a bark string snare over the entrance, and it should catch whatever it is going in or out.
2 minutes that took. Okay, next is build a raft.
As a reward for all that hard work, a session in my jungle power shower.
gonna go and check my trap. Oh, how good is that? Right. Supper as it gets dark.
Clearly, a mouse's size. Nobody's messing around with gutting. You just put in a little stick up its bottom and just wiggling it until it comes out its mouth. Okay. Mouse on a stick. Proper storm about to come in. Let's get this bad boy cooked. Simplest of little snare traps, and I've got the tiniest but most nutritious of meals. Mouse on a stick. Okay, in for a penny, in for a pound. Try it, head's nice. Right, it's tasty. Tasty little mouse. Satisfied after my morsel of mouse, my thoughts turn to tomorrow's big launch. To test my new raft. Is she seaworthy? Only time will tell. Alright, that's me. Good night. It's day 6. My mission is to catch fish out on the lake and tap into a limitless supply of food. I'm going to try spear fishing. Before I launch, I set up my camera on the viewpoint. Seeing a croc again makes me wonder if this is such a good idea. Am I going to need a bigger boat? It is important, really important, I think, to master this lagoon, to go into the sinkhole, because this is where food is. This is the only way I think I'm going to be able to get an abundant amount of fish, is to get out onto the water and start owning it, really. That said, I just hope it's going to work. If I'm really honest, I'm quite nervous right now, and that's an understatement. It's the moment of truth. I could be about to improve my living standards massively, or go down with my ship. It's in the water. It's in the water. It's floating. And it's just above the... It works! It works! It works! A perfect example of who dares wins. Shows out what a lack of confidence I've got in myself. I didn't think this was going to work, but it does. That's extraordinary. Right, keep an eye out for crocodile's head. Part of me saying, don't dangle your legs through here, kneel on the board, because there's crocodiles in here. Okay, relax. Doesn't matter that you can't swim, nor that your raft is semi-submerged. None of that matters. This is working. Doesn't matter there's crocodiles in here. Oh yeah. Oh, there's my camp. Extraordinary. Absolutely the things you find yourself doing in life, eh? Paddling across a croc-infested lagoon in the middle of the jungle. That looks mean, doesn't it? Just need a fish to come now. After an hour out on the raft, I have to admit defeat. I'm back to square one. So I come up with a new plan. This is actually an ancient Mayan type of fish trap. It just uses vines, and I'm going to lay them out on the floor and then sort of plait them into essentially it's a wicker basket. The Maya managed to thrive in this landscape using only the materials they could find. The techniques I'm using here probably haven't changed for thousands of years. The basket takes me the rest of the day, but it's potentially the key to being able to live here permanently. I need it to catch fish tomorrow, and if I fail, my whole mission here will have come to nothing. Coming up, I'm back on the lake. It's make or break time. I'm almost getting teary, this is ridiculous. I'm in the Guatemalan rainforest. As my journey began, a shaman warned me that the jungle would test my mental strength. And he was right. So I'm getting hungry now. I'm really getting hungry. It's the end of day 3. In for a penny, in for a pound. Food has been scarce, and I'm barely surviving, let alone thriving. But I'm determined to turn things around. Okay, it's gonna work, it's gonna work, it's gonna work, it's gonna work. It's my last day, and in a final bid for success, I'm trying to catch fish from the lake. But first, I need bait. That might be very useful. Right there is a big old termite nest. The people of Guatemala have used termites as bait for centuries. Time for some fishing. Mayans. It's a beautiful catfish. I need to gut it, but without a knife, I'm reduced to using a thorn as a needle. I was thinking I can use this needle to just essentially perforate a line down the chest of the catfish. Well, I could, except it's so tough. It's just snap the needle completely. That was my little idea. That's tough, that is. Super, super tough is the belly of a catfish. In fact, the best needle that I've got, of course, is the catfish's own spines that come out the side. If I snap this off, haha! Now I've got a needle that's tough enough. Hopefully you can see this, but I'm literally just gonna put a series of perforations down the belly. Incredibly tough skin. What a reward for all this time spent trying to scratch a living out of the jungle here. And eventually, the lake, the sinkhole, the entrance to the ancient Mayan underworld gives me this. I finally cracked it. With my raft and my basket, I think I could happily thrive here, just like the Mayans centuries ago. Just building the fire up a little bit because in order to cook on the embers, I need to have had a big enough, hot enough fire beforehand so that the fish can sit on really hot embers.
Look at that bad boy.
Oh. That's my first proper meal in more than a week, and suddenly I feel like a winner.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
This is... I do feel like it's my playground. Look at my feet. They are ridiculous. But who cares? Who cares? I'm cut, I'm muddy, my hands smell of fish. Fish guts and entrails. But I've got a full belly of fish. And my brain's working again. I can feel it. It's faster. It's utterly faster. Eat more fish. It's good for your brain. Good for your brain. Oh, sometimes I despair of you. I do. You are a bit nuts, Ed.
you are a bit nuts. Your job is to take your clothes off and walk into a rainforest and film yourself struggling. And then eventually, hopefully, thriving. What a life. What a life I am living.
And it was in that moment that I realised what Luis the shaman had been saying. That no matter how tough things might get, I need to be grateful for everything in my life. It seems fitting that this journey into the rainforest would begin with a fire and end with a fire. I decide to take my basket, my trident fishing spear and the raft, all the things I'd spent so much time making, and burn them in a ceremonial fire as a way of saying thanks.
I'm almost getting teary. This is ridiculous. I feel so much that this is the right thing to do. I know this is the right thing to do. Everything I've made, I give back. Everything of value to me, I've given. It does make sense to me. I know about staying present, I know about being aware, I know about meditation, and I know about mindfulness. I don't claim to be an expert on any, but what I do know is, before coming here I was looking for the one little key that would allow me to stay mindful, stay alert, stay aware of everything throughout the day. And the answer is gratitude. I think if I hold on to gratitude, that's the way to stay humble. That's the way to stay connected to everything.
After more than a week in the jungles of Guatemala, I can honestly say that I proved I can thrive here. I am ready to go home.
I'm so looking forward to being properly dry and sleeping in a bed with Egyptian cotton sheets and Bavarian goose down duvet. That's my dream.
I thought thriving here would be a walk in the park, but actually the jungle reminded me that survival is largely a state of mind. And for that, I'll be eternally grateful.